Well, as you recall, all iOS apps have a life cycle. And we're going to go through now and look at the iPad app's life cycle. So far, all we've done is create a view using the interface builder. We haven't brought it to life yet. Most iPad apps start off with a view, and we started with the view-based application template because it creates a skeleton for a fully functioning iPad app with a view. So now we're going to start to flesh out the template with some code that transforms it from an app that just sits there and looks pretty to an app that actually does something. In fact, MyPad World, the app we're creating for the iPad, is supposed to display following words. That's text flowing down the view with the words peace on earth, just like the iPhone version of the My World app. Only this time we'll jazz it up a bit with some random functions. But we're also going to include the ability for the user to change the words and, of course, to change the speed setting as well. But we're not going to use a flip side view the way the iPhone works. The iPad has a gigantic view and we're going to use it. The short but happy life of an iPad app begins when the user launches it by tapping its icon. The system launches your app by calling its main function, and that's where it all begins. And we can take a look at that by looking at the MyPad World code. Here we are at the MyPad World app as it stands right now. We have, in fact, created a mainwindow.nib file, or the template did for us. The template also created a MyPad World View Controller nib file, which we added a background image and an I button, just the user interface objects. We haven't connected them to code yet. But here's that main function I was talking about. And the main function does only three things that are really important things. One is to set up an auto-release pool, which is right here. It's used to support Coco's reference counting memory management system. I think I've talked a bit about that before with the iPhone app, and we're going to talk about it again with the iPad app when we put in our memory management functions. The next thing it does is it calls UI application main, the main entry point to create an application object, set up the delegate, and set up the event loop. And then, of course, at termination, it releases this auto-release pool, therefore controlling memory for us. But what's really important here is what the UI application main does. The first thing it does is it loads the main nib file, which is mainwindow.xib. And as you know, it's a resource file that contains the specs for one or more objects. It usually contains a window object and an application delegate object. And we have that right here, the window object, the app delegate object. In case you didn't open the screen, you may see them this way. The dock can be opened again, though, by clicking here. We call this the interface builder dock area. And our nib file, the main file, is basically, as you scroll through here, it's just a white background window with a status bar. The next thing that UI application main does is it sends a message to the app delegate, which is, in our case, My World App Delegate. And we'll look at the implementation file, and the message is application did finish launching with options. And here it is. It tells the delegate when the app has launched so that we can do things such as, well, anything we want to do to customize the app right after launch. We may want to display our main window as if the user were starting from scratch. We may want the window to look the way it did when the user last quit the app. This is the application delegate object. It's where we can put in this custom code for when the app has just launched. So basically, to summarize, UI application loads the parts of the main window that we need. It creates the MyPad World App Delegate. It creates the window. It sends MyPad World App Delegate the application did finish launching with options message. And then MyPad World App Delegate initializes the window. And all this is done for us as part of the template. So what we have to realize is during normal processing of our app, where we are handling events in the event loop, the app must be able to handle situations where that processing is interrupted. It may be temporary, it may be an incoming FaceTime call, a calendar alert, or the user pressing the sleep-wake button. Or it may be a slightly more permanent one, such as when the user quits your app or starts another app. Either way, your app begins the transition to its background state, where it is suspended to conserve power, but it remains in memory. Now, whether the app is interrupted, sent to its background state, or even terminated, saving is important because when the time comes for the app to launch again, and the UI application main sends the app delegate the application did finish launching with options message, you can restore the app to where the user left off. So since we started this new project from a template, the basic app cycle is established. The app will launch, An app object will be created and connected to the window object. The run loop will be established with events and so on. But really, the big challenge is to figure out where our code goes. Well, the first task we're going to have is animating the view. And we're going to need to set that up pretty much the same way we did with the iPhone app.